Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Yeah.
For this one, you've been digging into AI and education.
Yeah.
And wow, just skimming these sources, I'm seeing some really exciting stuff already.
It's pretty amazing how fast things are changing.
Yeah, definitely. So we've got excerpts from this Spanish paper. It's called Aprendizaje Impulsado por Inteligencia Artificial, IA.
Which translates to AI-powered learning.
Exactly. So let's dive into how AI is changing the way we learn and teach.
One of the most interesting things this paper highlights is the shift away from that one-size-fits-all approach to education. Where everyone gets the same material at the same pace, regardless of their individual needs or learning style.
Yeah, that old model.
Right. And the paper really dives into how personalized learning is becoming a reality thanks to AI.
Okay, so we're not just talking about like a textbook that gives you harder math problems if you're getting everything right. What else makes this personalized approach different?
It's about really tailoring the entire learning experience to you. Imagine AI analyzing not just your right or wrong answers, but how you're learning. Like, it could figure out if you're a visual learner, if you need more hands-on activities.
Oh, wow.
Even what time of day your brain is most active. Then it could adjust the content, the pace, even the teaching style to match your needs.
That's wild.
Yeah.
But how is that actually happening? Like, are there real-world examples of this beyond just the theory?
Absolutely. There are platforms like Dreambox Learning that are already doing this for math.
Dreambox Learning. Okay.
What's cool about Dreambox is that it doesn't just throw harder problems at you. It uses sophisticated algorithms to figure out why you might be struggling with a certain concept, and then provides targeted instruction to address that specific gap in your understanding.
So it's not just going faster or slower. It's about understanding how you learn best.
Exactly.
Okay, now this next part I thought was super interesting, the virtual tutors.
Oh, yeah.
So does this mean no more late-night study sessions with nobody around to help?
That's the idea. AI-powered assistants and chatbots are changing the game. They can answer your questions in real time.
Really?
Yeah, clarify confusing concepts, and even offer different explanations until something clicks for you. And the best part is they're available 24/7.
Wow, imagine having a personal tutor on call at all times. That would have been a game changer back in my school days.
For sure.
But wouldn't that make students too reliant on instant answers?
That's a valid concern, and it's something educators are definitely grappling with.
Yeah.
The key is to use these AI tutors strategically. For example, they could be integrated into existing learning platforms like Moodle.
Oh, like Moodle.
Right, where they can answer frequently asked questions, provide hints on assignments, or even help with time management.
So it's all about support, not replacing the student's own effort.
Exactly. The goal is to support students' independence, not replace it.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, I see here we've also got some information on AI and data. And, well, this kind of sounds a little bit like Big Brother. Is it all about tracking students?
Not necessarily. The
Yeah.
paper calls it learning analytics.
Learning analytics.
And it's actually more like having a detective on the case for each student's success. AI can analyze massive amounts of data about how students are learning, but the goal is to find patterns that teachers might miss.
Okay, so instead of just seeing that a student is failing, AI could help figure out why and maybe point to solutions.
Exactly. It can identify early warning signs that a student might be falling behind, pinpoint their specific areas of difficulty, and even suggest personalized interventions. There are platforms like Edmentum that are doing some really fascinating work in this area.
Edmentum, I'll have to check that out.
They're giving teachers real-time insights to tailor their instruction and support students proactively.
So AI isn't replacing teachers, it's kind of giving them superpowers to help students succeed.
Exactly. Augmenting their abilities, not replacing them.
I like that.
But
what about making learning itself more fun? I've heard a lot about AI and gamification. Is that just a buzzword or is there something to it?
oh, it's way more than just a buzzword. Think about it. Games are designed to keep you engaged,
Yeah?
challenged, and coming back for more. And AI can help bring those same principles into the classroom, turning learning into a more immersive experience.
So instead of just reading about ancient Rome in a textbook, I could like virtually explore the Colosseum.
Exactly. Or even build a virtual catapult and test it out.
That's awesome.
AI-powered simulations and games can bring all sorts of subjects to life. We're seeing this already with medical simulators used for surgical training,
Oh, wow.
where students can practice in a safe virtual environment. And there are tons of educational games for younger learners covering everything from math to coding.
That's amazing. It makes learning so much more engaging.
For sure.
But I'm also curious about how AI can help students who might face barriers to traditional education.
Yeah, that's really important. AI has the potential to make learning more accessible and inclusive for everyone. For instance, there are AI-powered tools that can provide real-time translation, create automatic subtitles,
Hmm.
and even convert text to speech.
So a student who is deaf could have a lecture automatically captioned in real time,
That's right.
and a student with dyslexia could have their textbook read aloud.
Exactly. And these tools are becoming increasingly sophisticated and readily available.
It's incredible.
Yeah, like Microsoft Immersive Reader.
Oh, I've heard of that.
It can read text aloud, but also break down complex sentences, highlight key vocabulary, and even translate text into different languages.
Wow. What about Google Translate? That's got to be getting better all the time, right?
It is. It's constantly evolving, making it easier to access information in multiple languages.
It really seems like AI is breaking down so many
It
barriers
really is.
and creating opportunities for everyone to learn, which is fantastic.
Ah,
Now, speaking of personalized learning, I'm seeing a lot about adaptive learning in these sources. What exactly does that mean?
Adaptive learning is like having a personalized learning journey designed just for you. It's not a fixed path. It adapts and adjusts based on your progress and needs.
Okay.
It's like having a personal trainer for your brain.
I like that. So it's not just about choosing easy, medium, or hard levels. How does AI make it truly adaptive?
Well, AI is constantly monitoring your performance and analyzing how you're interacting with the material.
Okay.
So it can adjust the difficulty level, recommend specific resources, even change the presentation style based on what it's learning about you.
So it's like having a textbook that rewrites itself as you go along, making sure you're always challenged but not totally lost.
Precisely. And think about language learning apps like Duolingo. They already use AI to adapt the lessons to your pace,
Right.
introduce new vocabulary and grammar at just the right time, and even personalize the feedback you receive.
Okay, so it's like what we were talking about before, about really understanding how you learn best.
Exactly.
Now, I'm starting to see how powerful this could be. But what about university professors? How does this apply to them? I mean, how can they use AI in their classrooms?
That's a great question, and the paper actually goes into that specifically.
Okay.
We've been talking a lot about how AI can help students learn, but it's becoming a really valuable tool for educators as well.
So professors aren't being replaced by robots, they're getting AI sidekicks.
Exactly. Professors can use AI to automate time-consuming tasks like grading, which frees up more time for, personalized instruction and mentorship.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
And they can also leverage AI to create more dynamic and engaging learning materials tailored to their students' needs and learning styles.
So instead of giving the same lecture every year, they could have AI help them create interactive presentations or personalized quizzes or even virtual simulations.
Exactly. Plus, AI can give professors really valuable insights into their students' learning progress. By analyzing all that data on how students are interacting with course materials and performing on assignments, AI can help professors identify areas where students might be struggling
Right.
and then adjust their teaching strategies accordingly.
It's like giving them a superpower to understand their students' needs and help them succeed.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful stuff.
Definitely. But before we get too carried away, there's this big question I keep coming back to.
What's that?
If AI can personalize learning this much, really fine-tune it to each student, what happens to the traditional classroom? Do we even need physical schools anymore?
Now, that's a question that opens up a whole other level of discussion. It challenges the very foundation of our education system and brings up some really fascinating possibilities.
And probably some concerns, too.
Definitely. It's something we'll have to explore further.
Yeah. Feels like we're just scratching the surface here. We're going to need a whole other deep dive to unpack that one. But for now, we'll leave you with that thought to ponder. Welcome back to the deep dive. So we left off with that big question. If AI can personalize learning so well, what happens to the traditional classroom? Do we even need physical schools anymore?
That's a really interesting question, and honestly, there aren't any easy answers.
Yeah.
Schools offer so much more than just lessons and information.
Right.
Think about the social interactions, teamwork, learning to deal with different personalities. Those are all really crucial life skills.
You're right. It's not just about the academics. It's about learning how to be part of a community, how to handle conflict, how to make friends, things AI can't really teach.
Exactly. And there's something to be said for hands-on learning experiences, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like conducting a science experiment or putting on a school play,
Hmm.
even just messing around with art supplies. Those tangible experiences shape how we learn and grow.
So it's not about AI versus teachers or online learning versus brick-and-mortar schools. It's about finding a way to use both effectively.
That's the key takeaway here, I think. The future of education is probably going to involve this hybrid model that combines the best of both worlds,
Yeah, the best of both
where
worlds.
AI can do things like personalize learning, make it more engaging, and provide teachers with better tools, but
Hmm.
schools will still be essential for that social and experiential dimension that's really hard to replicate online.
It's like we're entering this whole new era of education.
We are.
And just like with any big change, there are going to be some bumps in the road.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I'm seeing a lot in these sources about ethical considerations of using AI in education.
Oh, yeah.
What are some of the concerns that people are raising?
Well, one of the biggest ones is data privacy. AI systems collect a ton of information about students, their academic performance, their learning styles, even their emotional responses. We have to make sure this data is being used ethically and responsibly, that students' privacy is protected.
Right, so we don't want AI to become a tool for surveillance or
No.
judging students.
Exactly.
It should be about supporting them, not labeling them or tracking them in a negative way.
Absolutely. And another big concern is algorithmic bias.
Algorithm bias.
Yeah, AI algorithms are trained on data. And if that data is biased, then the algorithm is going to be biased too.
That makes sense.
And this could lead to some really unfair outcomes like inaccurate assessments
Oh, wow.
or even recommendations that limit opportunities for certain groups of students.
So if an AI system was mainly trained on data from students in, say, wealthy schools,
Right.
it might not be as effective for students from different backgrounds, different socioeconomic backgrounds, or with different learning needs.
Exactly. We need to be really careful about designing and implementing AI systems in a way that's equitable and inclusive for all students.
Yeah, that's really important.
Yeah. It means thinking carefully about the data sets we use to train these systems and constantly monitoring and evaluating them for potential bias.
It sounds like a lot of work needs to be done to make sure AI is used ethically and responsibly in education.
It is, for sure.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of optimism in these sources.
Yeah, I'm sensing that too.
I mean, we've talked about the challenges, but the potential benefits of AI in education are enormous.
Okay, give me a glimpse into this exciting future. What are we talking about here?
Well, imagine a world where every student has a hyper-personalized learning path.
Hyper-personalized. Wow.
Yeah, where AI analyzes your strengths, weaknesses, interests, and even your goals to create this totally customized learning journey just for you.
So instead of everyone following the same curriculum, each student would have a unique experience tailored to them.
Exactly. And AI would constantly be monitoring your progress, adjusting things like the pace, the difficulty level, and even the types of learning activities to make sure you're always challenged but never overwhelmed.
It's like having a personalized GPS for your education.
It is, kind of. Guiding you on the best path for you.
This is incredible. What else? What else is on the horizon?
Well, think about seamless collaboration between teachers and AI.
Okay.
It's not about AI replacing teachers,
Yeah.
but becoming their ultimate sidekick,
Right, like helping them with the day-to-day stuff.
Exactly, like assisting with things like grading or lesson planning, even providing real-time feedback on students' progress.
So that frees up teachers to focus on the human element.
Right, on the things that they do best.
Yeah.
Mentoring, inspiring, building those relationships with their students.
That's a really cool vision. And what about those immersive learning environments we talked about earlier? Like, how could AI make those even better?
Well, imagine stepping into a virtual reality world where you can explore ancient civilizations,
Oh, wow.
or dissect a human body in 3D, or even design and run your own experiments.
That's wild.
AI could make these environments even more personalized, adapting to your learning style, providing feedback, and adjusting the difficulty level as you go.
It's like taking field trips without ever leaving the classroom.
Exactly.
This all sounds super futuristic, but I have to admit, it also feels a little abstract.
I get it.
Like, how do we get from where we are now to this amazing world of hyper-personalized learning and seamless collaboration between humans and AI?
That's a great question. And I think the key is recognizing that the future of education isn't predetermined. It's something we're creating right now, all of us.
So it's not about waiting for technology to just magically evolve. We all have a role to play in shaping how AI is used in education.
Absolutely. We all need to be informed, engaged, and we need to think critically.
Right? Be proactive, not passive.
Exactly. We need to ask questions, challenge assumptions, and advocate for ethical and responsible development of AI in education.
It's about being the drivers of change, not just the passengers. But where do we even start? It feels like such a complex and rapidly changing landscape.
You're right, it can feel overwhelming.
Hmm.
But don't underestimate the power of even small, consistent actions.
Yeah.
Every conversation we have, every article we share, every question we ask can contribute to a more informed and equitable future for AI in education.
So it's about starting with ourselves in our own communities,
Right.
and then branching out from there.
Exactly. Have those conversations with your kids' teachers, with your elected officials, with your friends and family. Stay curious, explore new ideas, connect with others who are passionate about this topic.
I love that. It's about making our voices heard, making sure that the conversation about AI in education includes lots of different perspectives.
Sure.
Not just the tech industry folks, but everyone.
Absolutely.
But how do we make sure these conversations are productive, that they actually lead to real change?
That's where things get really interesting. We need to move beyond just talking about the potential benefits and challenges. We need to start exploring concrete solutions,
Yeah, like what can we actually do?
Exactly. Develop best practices, advocate for policies that prioritize ethical considerations and equitable access.
So it's about moving from those big abstract ideas to concrete action.
Right. From what if to how do we make this happen?
Okay, I'm with you.
And I think the key to all of this is collaboration. We need educators, researchers, policymakers, parents, students, everyone working together to shape a future where AI truly empowers learners and educators.
That's an inspiring vision. But I got to be honest, I'm still a little intimidated by this whole thing.
It's a lot, I know.
What can our listeners, who maybe aren't AI experts or tech geniuses, what can they do to make a real difference?
That's a great question, and it's something we're going to dive into even deeper in the next part of our deep dive.
Ooh, I love a good cliffhanger. Lay it on me.
But for now, I'll leave you with this thought.
Yeah.
Everyone has something valuable to contribute to this conversation. Your experiences, your perspectives, your questions, your ideas, they all matter.
Yeah.
Don't underestimate the power of your voice and your own actions in shaping the future of AI in education.
Welcome back to the deep dive. So we've talked about all the amazing possibilities of AI in education, but also, those ethical questions and what happens to schools.
Yeah, it's a big topic.
Definitely. But now let's get practical. What can you, our listeners, actually do to help shape this future we've been talking about?
Well, we ended part 2 talking about how everyone has a role to play, even if you're not a tech expert, right?
Right.
And I think the first step is pretty simple. Just stay curious.
Curiosity. Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
But sometimes it feels like, I don't know, drinking from a fire hose.
I know what you mean.
There's so much news about AI every single day, it's hard to even know where to focus.
Yeah, it can definitely feel overwhelming.
Yeah.
My advice. Be selective about your sources.
Okay.
Don't just skim headlines or company press releases. Look for, in-depth articles, research papers, and even podcasts that really dive deeper into the how and why of AI in education.
So it's about quality over quantity, really understanding what you're reading.
Exactly.
But what about when it gets super technical? I'm not a programmer. I don't understand algorithms and all that.
You don't have to. Remember, you're trying to understand the big picture impact, not become a software engineer.
Yeah, that's true.
Focus on the key findings, the potential benefits, and those ethical considerations we've been talking about. And don't be afraid to ask questions. There are some amazing online communities and forums where you can connect with experts.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And learn from other people who are exploring these same topics.
So, step 1 is staying informed, being careful about what we read, and not being afraid to ask questions if we don't understand something. What's next? How do we go from being informed to actually doing something?
That's where advocacy comes in.
Advocacy.
Yeah. It might sound intimidating, but it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
Start by just having conversations, talk to your friends, family, colleagues.
Yeah.
And especially educators and policymakers.
So it's about raising awareness, making sure AI in education is on people's radar.
Exactly. If you're a parent, talk to your kids' teachers about it.
Right.
Or their school administrators, ask them how they're using AI or how they plan to use it in the future. Ask about data privacy, algorithmic bias, what measures they're taking to make sure everyone has equal access.
And if you're not a parent, you can still make a difference. Write to your elected officials, Share articles you find interesting on social media.
Yeah, all of that.
Join online discussions. Support organizations that are advocating for ethical AI in education.
Absolutely. Every voice makes a difference.
Wow.
And don't underestimate the power of personal stories.
Oh, that's a good point.
If you've had positive or negative experiences with AI in education, share those.
Right.
Your story might change someone's perspective or even influence, policy decisions.
So we're talking about a grassroots movement here. People power. I like it. But let's get even more specific. What are some things people can do, right now, today, after listening to this episode?
Well, here are a few ideas. First, do a little research on the AI-powered learning tools that are already out there.
Okay.
Try them out yourself or encourage your kids to explore them.
Right.
See what works, what doesn't, and start thinking critically about how these tools can be used well, effectively and ethically.
So it's about being an informed user, not just passively consuming whatever's put in front of you.
Exactly. Second, try reaching out to an educator in your community.
Yeah.
Could be a teacher, professor, school administrator, even a librarian, Share what you've learned about AI in education. Ask them their perspective.
Right.
See what their plans are for integrating AI into their work.
I like that. It's about opening up that dialogue
Yeah.
between the tech world and the education world.
Exactly. And lastly, make a commitment to staying informed about this,
Yeah,
Subscribe to a newsletter, follow some researchers or organizations on social media. Just keep up with this field because it's changing so fast.
the more you know, the better equipped you'll be to really make a difference. Right?
Exactly.
Wow, this has been such a thought-provoking deep dive. We started out exploring all the amazing things AI could do in education.
Yeah. Personalized learning paths, those immersive virtual classrooms, it's pretty exciting stuff.
And we talked about the tough stuff, too. Data privacy, algorithmic bias, what happens to traditional schools in this new world.
It's a complex issue, for sure.
But most importantly, we've given our listeners the tools to take action, to, stay curious, stay informed, advocate for change, and ultimately be a part of shaping this future of education where AI really benefits everyone.
It's about creating a future where learning is personalized, engaging, and accessible for everyone.
And that's a future worth fighting for, right?
Absolutely.
So go out there, ask questions, share what you've learned, and help build that future. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.